So, why do people choose to change? Or, on the other hand, choose not to? I've learned that why comes in two flavors: inspiration and desperation. And despite my wishing that all people change their minds, their attitudes, their business practices, etc., in response to inspiration, I'm reminded every day how it's really more likely that if anyone changes anything, it's out of desperation. It's the whole dichotomy of pleasure versus pain. When we respond, we take back control. We anticipate things to come and think about them before saying or doing anything. We get to decide how and really if we allow outside forces to affect us, both externally and internally. When we respond instead of react, we actually feel more at ease and have many more opportunities to move towards pleasure instead of away from pain. Despite the fact that nearly all of us are able to respond to things instead of react to them, it appears that not all of us are willing to do so. One way to determine whether you are spending more time reacting or responding is to check your results. What's happening in your life? Are you happy, fulfilled, energized, surrounded by great people, feeling pretty fortunate? Or more of the opposite, like a victim of your surroundings and upbringing? In other words, when you do make a move in your life, is it away from things or toward them? Days like today will make you choose who you want to be and how you choose to react. And most importantly, are you using desperation or inspiration to influence your decisions? I hope it's the latter. Welcome to ReadySetCrypto. This is your brain on blockchain. So now that I've had some fun pretending to be your therapist, I do encourage you to check out our recent addition to our class catalog. It's times like these where education is one of your best weapons. And Doc's new trend trading class is exactly the kind of education that you need to be focused on. Again, this goes back to what I just said about, are you moving towards something or away from something? If you're trying to move away from the losses that you've incurred, you're going to be constantly disappointed because this is a speculative space and nothing is guaranteed. But if you're moving towards something, you're using inspiration, if you're making investments into yourself, then I feel you'll be much better equipped to handle the market of today, tomorrow, and the day afterwards. So go to ReadySetCrypto.com/trend because for the first week the class is introduced, we give a really good discount that is not available to the public off the street. Additionally, we're also having a great sale on all of our existing courses to celebrate 1 year of this channel and to show that we're committed to high quality education without screwing people over. So head to our website at ReadySetCrypto.com to check that out. Now, there are two big things that happened that I want to cover today. I think it's no secret at this point that Bakkt has made an announcement that its first product, the Bitcoin futures trading platform, has been delayed once again to late January. ICE Futures US Incorporated will list the new Bakkt Bitcoin daily futures contract for trading on the trade date of Thursday, January 24th, 2019, subject to regulatory approval. Bakkt CEO Kelly Loeffler expanded upon this, explaining that a volume of interest in the company and the work required to get all the pieces in place were contributing factors to the delay. She continued, as is often true with product launches, there are new processes, risks, and mitigants to test and retest. And in the case of crypto, a new asset class to which these resources must be applied. So it makes sense to adjust our timeline as we work with the industry toward launch. Now, a couple key things to note. First, the update included language that the futures contract would be subject to regulatory approval. This indicates to me that they still haven't received such approval from the CFTC, despite their previous confidence. This is something I've pointed out since August, and it concerns me that they're continuing to affect the market with these delays and making the CFTC the scapegoat, whereas their premature announcements are really what's to blame. This also highlights the sheer impact this had. Coincidentally, the announcement was made right as Bitcoin was finding support at 5,000. Now, without stoking the flames of conspiracy, it does make sense that Wall Street would want to take a wait-and-see approach with regard to how cheap they can buy Bitcoin for. After all, if you have millions upon millions of dollars to invest in a highly liquid asset that lacks regulation, would you not try to see if you could get a discount on it? But this also highlights something I don't see a lot of other people discussing. The whales that are manipulating and moving the market today are not Wall Street by and large, because they have yet to truly enter the space. Sure, they're there, but the real whales bought in long ago and already have massive amounts of coins. If you want to point fingers, point them at the rich list of the top coins and see what they're up to. And yet, what does this accomplish? Are we really surprised by any of this? We shouldn't be. As I've argued, nothing has fundamentally changed. This is a perception war. Sure, the market is very different from a year ago. We're seeing the entire crypto space evolve from ICOs and hype into value and real profits. And that is not an easy or quick transition, as we saw with the dot-com bubble burst and subsequent recovery over the course of a decade. And this is why I reject the notion that we be blaming people, blaming projects, placing blame everywhere but ourselves. Craig Wright is not to blame for this downturn. Tether is not to blame for this downturn. Bakkt is not to blame for this downturn. In so many ways, we are still in a primary downtrend caused by the rampant expectations getting out of control last year. I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but it's true. Don't get me wrong, I am very upset with what those actors are doing on a macro scale, but in the end, it's just noise and people looking to point fingers. And this is why at the beginning of the video, I needed to highlight the difference between inspiration and desperation. Right now, your job is not to try to outsmart this clearly emotional market. The goal here is not to try to be intelligent. The goal right now is not to be stupid or make stupid moves. Despite what some people are trying to tell you, crypto will survive. It has a very uncomfortable existence right now because it is not a traditional asset class. We are our own support system. No government is going to step in and save us from ourselves. We are not too big to fail. No law or monetary decision or bailout will occur that will turn the market green. We live and die by the merits of this space and the promise of tomorrow. That is what it means to be a crypto investor, and that is why it is scary for the traditional investor or person who has never invested before. But in so many ways, this is so much healthier than the equity markets we're also seeing struggle. We have a real system here of checks and balances. There is an order to things because code is law. Ultimately, I understand how this is not easy for anyone. Risk and reward are fun to think about, but real sacrifice and pain is not something most people are ready for when it comes to watching their money lose theoretical value. There was plenty of that going around during the 2008 financial crisis as people's retirement accounts evaporated. So I have to stress, don't expect immediate results because the larger the dream, quite often the more time and effort it will require to achieve. But most dreams are worth the investment. As they say, it doesn't matter what path you took to get there. Once you get to the top of the mountain, the view is the same. I mean, why do some of us persevere while others simply give up? There are those of us who will do anything to achieve our dreams. And there's others who would simply give anything to stay on the couch. Following our dreams requires dedication, perseverance, persistence, overcoming obstacles, and more often than not, sacrifice. Most dreams are worth the sacrifice. I mean, let me ask you this. What would you give to be happy? How hard would you work to fulfill your purpose in life? We often sacrifice for the wrong reasons and for the wrong people. But our life has a purpose, and it is our job to discover that purpose and to fulfill it in every way possible. True happiness is the result of the actions we take in every moment. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step, and then another, ad infinitum. Those who can ride the storm, control their decisions, and look ahead will be the ones who inherit the earth. But for now, we'll keep it one day at a time. Hang in there. Just breathe, and it will be okay. Thanks for watching. This has been ReadySetCrypto. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.